Remember Monica Lewinsky? For years, her name was shorthand for one of the most explosive political scandals in American history. But what if I told you that the same woman once buried under global ridicule, legal chaos, and financial ruin is now worth tens of millions, not by accident, but by mastering one of the most remarkable personal reinventions of our time? This is the untold story of how Monica Lewinsky turned humiliation into empowerment and transformed the scandal that almost ended her life into a multimillion-dollar empire built on purpose, authenticity, and resilience. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. In 1995, a 22-year-old White House intern named Monica Lewinsky had no idea that her name would soon dominate headlines across the globe. She was bright, ambitious, and eager to serve in the highest corridors of power. But by 1998, her private relationship with President Bill Clinton became the centerpiece of an impeachment scandal that shook Washington and the world. The fallout was instant and merciless. The blue dress, the secret tapes, the endless talk shows. The young woman at the heart of it all became a punchline before she even had a chance to tell her side of the story. Overnight, she went from a hopeful intern to a symbol of public shame. One former White House staffer later revealed, no one thought Monica would ever recover. Not financially, not professionally, not emotionally. For a time, that grim prediction seemed true. After the scandal, Monica disappeared from the public eye. She couldn't find work. Resumes went unanswered, interviews were canceled, and companies quietly admitted they feared the media storm her name might bring. Despite earning a master's degree from the London School of Economics, she was effectively blacklisted from professional life. And then there were the debts, massive, crushing legal bills exceeding $1.5 million from years of investigations, testimony, and defense fees. She had no steady income, no savings, and nowhere to go but back home to her mother's apartment. Friends later recalled that Monica often skipped social events because she couldn't afford dinner. She was one of the most recognizable women in the world, yet couldn't pay her rent. Her story seemed destined to end as a cautionary tale of how the machinery of politics and media could destroy a young life. But then, against all odds, Monica Lewinsky did something no one expected. She began to rebuild. Her first step back came in 1999 when she signed a controversial $1 million book deal for Monica's story, written with biographer Andrew Morton. Critics accused her of cashing in on scandal, but for Monica, it was about survival. The only way to pay off the mountain of legal debt threatening to crush her. Then came the Barbara Walters interview, one of the most watched television specials of the decade. It earned her a reported $300,000 and allowed her to speak for herself on her own terms, if only briefly. These early deals gave her breathing room. But Monica didn't stop there. She took the little financial stability she had and launched a new business. The Real Monica incorporated a line of designer handbags. It was an unlikely move, yet a bold one. Rather than hide, she put her name front and center. A retail analyst at the time noted, people thought it was a novelty act. But Monica was deeply involved, sketching designs, working with suppliers, building something real. The handbag line didn't become a billion-dollar brand, but it did prove one thing. Monica Lewinsky wasn't going to vanish quietly. She was learning how to turn notoriety into opportunity. Those years were far from glamorous, but they were critical. They marked the foundation of her slow, methodical climb from near bankruptcy toward stability. For nearly a decade, Monica kept her head down. She avoided interviews, refused to appear on reality shows, and lived quietly while paying off debt and waiting for the media obsession to fade. Then in 2014, she reappeared not as a scandal figure, but as an advocate. Her Vanity Fair essay Shame and Survival reframed her story through a new lens. Not gossip, but the first viral case of cyberbullying in the digital age. Her words hit a nerve. For the first time, people understood that Monica wasn't just a footnote in a political scandal, she was one of the earliest victims of online humiliation. The internet had turned her into a global target long before social media existed. Her authenticity changed everything. Speaking agencies began to call. Universities, corporations, and conferences wanted her perspective on public shaming, resilience, and digital ethics. Before that essay, she could charge maybe $10,000 for an appearance. Within 2 years, her fees had tripled, then quadrupled. Today, insiders estimate she earns more than $100,000 per keynote and delivers dozens each year around the world. That's over $3 million annually, speaking about the very pain that once silenced her. But what made Monica's comeback powerful wasn't just the money, it was that she found purpose. She turned her trauma into advocacy and advocacy into influence. And that influence became the foundation for an empire. By 2019, Monica made a strategic move that permanently changed her financial trajectory. She realized that her story would continue to be told, with or without her involvement. So she decided to own it. She became a producer for Impeachment, American Crime Story on FX, ensuring her perspective guided the narrative rather than being silenced by it. Industry insiders say her deal included both a substantial upfront payment, reportedly in the seven figures, and long-term revenue from streaming and international rights. For the first time, Monica wasn't just the subject of a story. She was its architect. Following that success, she signed new production deals with HBO and Netflix. The latter was reportedly worth about $15 million over 3 years, not just for projects about her life, but for documentaries exploring power, gender, and cancel culture. She was no longer a cautionary tale. She was an executive producer with creative control and real financial equity. A Hollywood agent later remarked, she turned her greatest liability, her name, into her most valuable asset. That's business genius. Around 2016, as her speaking career took off, Monica began investing in something few would associate with her, technology startups. At first, her motivation was mission-driven. She wanted to support innovation in online safety and anti-bullying platforms. But those early impact investments soon proved extremely profitable. According to one venture capital source, Monica's small initial investments, often between $50,000 and $100,000, in early-stage tech firms yielded returns exceeding 20 times their original value after acquisitions by major tech companies. Her secret advantage? Insight. Monica understood online humiliation better than anyone. She saw where the digital world was heading long before Silicon Valley did. Her investments targeted companies working on harassment prevention, content moderation, and digital well-being, sectors that exploded as public pressure on social platforms grew. Over time, she built a diversified tech portfolio spanning social analytics, educational software, and communication tools, all aligned with her public mission. A financial advisor described her strategy as a virtuous cycle. Her advocacy raised awareness about online toxicity, which in turn increased demand for the very solutions she had invested in. It was both purposeful and profitable. Those tech investments reportedly doubled her net worth, pushing her total wealth past $40 million, a figure once unimaginable for someone who had once lived off her mother's couch. Despite her fame and fortune, Monica Lewinsky has kept her lifestyle intentionally low-key. She doesn't flaunt luxury online. She avoids red carpets. But privately, she's made strategic moves in real estate that mirror her financial acumen. Her primary residence is reportedly a secure, private loft in Manhattan purchased for nearly $5 million. She also owns a secluded beachfront condo near Santa Barbara, California, and a mountain retreat outside Aspen, Colorado. Each property was chosen for privacy, not publicity. Every one is purchased through anonymous trusts or LLCs to protect her location. A wealth manager familiar with her portfolio once said, "These aren't vanity properties. They're safe spaces, literal fortresses of peace for someone who's lived her entire adult life under scrutiny." Collectively, her real estate holdings are estimated to be worth around $15 million, not just valuable assets, but symbols of a woman who once had nowhere to hide, now finally owning her sanctuary. Few know that Monica has quietly returned to fashion, but this time on her own terms. Starting around 2018, she began collaborating with designers on limited edition collections inspired by her advocacy work. One collection, released in 2021, featured accessories symbolizing resilience and self-acceptance, and reportedly generated more than $4 million in sales its first year. Unlike traditional celebrity endorsements, these projects are deeply personal. Monica insists on design input and creative direction. Her collaborations have expanded into wellness-oriented brands, blue light eyewear, mindfulness stationery, and sustainable loungewear, all connected to digital well-being and mental health. Her annual licensing income from these ventures exceeds $2 million. But the real value is credibility. Younger audiences, especially Gen Z, don't see her as a relic of scandal, but as a voice of vulnerability and empowerment. As one branding executive put it, she's not selling fame. She's selling authenticity, and that's priceless. Perhaps the most meaningful chapter of Monica Lewinsky's story isn't her comeback or her millions. It's what she's done with them. In 2019, she quietly established a private foundation dedicated to helping people whose lives have been torn apart by online shaming and public humiliation. The foundation funds legal support, therapy, and advocacy for those facing viral harassment, all confidentially without media attention. She's also donated heavily to scholarships for students studying digital ethics and cybersafety, ensuring that the next generation can build a healthier online world than the one that once destroyed her. Her philanthropic contributions now exceed $2 million annually, but she refuses to publicize them. As one nonprofit consultant noted, she's not trying to erase her past. She's trying to use it. For Monica, wealth has become a tool, not to display power, but to protect dignity, both hers and others. Monica Lewinsky's journey is not just about numbers, though they are staggering. From legal debts of $1.5 million to an estimated net worth now approaching $45 million, her story represents something rarer than riches: redemption. At 51, she has turned scandal into substance, shame into advocacy, and infamy into influence. She has advised tech companies, produced award-nominated television, delivered speeches to packed auditoriums, and built one of the most authentic personal brands in modern media. She once said in an interview, "I was the first person to have my reputation destroyed globally on the internet, but I refused to let that be the final word." And it wasn't. Today, Monica Lewinsky stands as a case study in resilience, a reminder that even when the world writes you off, your story isn't over until you decide it is. Every generation has its symbols of scandal. Few rewrite their endings. Monica Lewinsky did. She transformed the wreckage of her past into a platform for compassion, awareness, and impact. She turned the digital weapon that once destroyed her into her greatest advantage, becoming one of the most respected voices on shame, empathy, and the power of second chances. And maybe that's the real shock behind her net worth. Not that it's millions, but that it's proof redemption can indeed be priceless.